Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Raymond Aita and we're coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Let's take a look at the day's headlines. FG says President Buhari delivered his promise on credible 2023 polls. Senate carries State House and MDAs over 969 billion naira budgetary allocation. Plus, NATO's border with Russia doubles as Finland joins member state. We will bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks indeed for joining us. And we begin this afternoon with the reports that the federal government says President Muhammadu Buhari has delivered on his pledge to leave behind a legacy of free, fair and credible elections in the conduct of the 2023 polls. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed stated this in Washington, D.C. during his official engagements with some international media organizations. The minister said in fulfillment of the president's pledge to restore sanity into the electoral process, it resolved that it would not confer special advantage on any political party, including the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, during the election. He added that during the past elections, the president ensured that nobody used security agencies to rig the election in his favor, but created a level playing ground for the elections to take place. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, BPSR, has urged the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, to enhance safe, secure shipping, cleaner oceans, and maritime capacity in line with best global practices. The BPSR also disclosed that NIMASA has been promoted to the silver level after scoring 74% in performance. According to a statement by the Service Reforms, this was announced in its summary report on the deployment of the BPSR self-assessment tool presented to the management of the agency by the Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Arabi Dasuki. The statement further said that the Maritime Agency had also been promoted to Level 2, which implied that the agency's performance met expectations in essential areas of responsibility, resulting in an overall quality of work that was generally good, with the most critical organizational goals being met. Away from that, former President Goodluck Jonathan has urged African leaders to make life easy for their citizens. The former Nigerian president, who spoke at the maiden edition of the African Heritage Concert and Awards in Kigali, Rwanda, said such leaders should be concerned about the legacies that they will be leaving behind. Media aide to Jonathan, Welter Minabo, in a statement, noted that the former president made the call after bagging the African Democracy and Peace Icon Award, where he called on African leaders to avoid turning themselves into bosses of the people. He stressed that the duty of leaders is to run their countries properly and efficiently, and not to dehumanize human beings, make life difficult. From the red chambers, the Senate, through its Public Accounts Committee, has carried the State House and 557 ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, over the failure to account for 969 billion naira in tangible assets in the 2019 budget. Reports say a review of intangible assets notes to the federal government of Nigeria indicates that the sum of 969 billion naira was categorized as intangible assets without a shadow showing the classification and nature of the assets, contrary to the provision of the International Public Sector Accounting Standard. Among the 558 agencies are the State House, the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Bureau of Public Procurement, National Population Commission, Federal College of Forestry, Ibadan, Federal College of Forestry, Jos, National Orientation Agency, the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, and Nigeria Police Academy, Wudili. The chairman, Senate Public Accounts Committee, Matthew Ugoide, disclosed this to newsmen, noting that the proposed legislation sought to strengthen the office of the Auditor General of the Federation. To electoral matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Rivers State has requested the cooperation of all political parties seeking the inspection of election materials used in the February 25 and March 18, 2023 polls, saying that it will discharge its constitutional and lawful duties without preferences or bias. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in the state, Johnson Sinikem, said the request from 50 applicants for inspection of materials will be granted. Sinikem noted that although the application of certified true copies of documents and access for inspection of election materials are the legitimate entitlement of candidates and parties to election petitions, the documents are governed by processes and procedures, which includes payments of requisite fees, making photocopies of relevant documents, and certification by the authorized official of the Commission. In a separate development, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba Alkali, and the newly appointed Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Solomon Arase, have pledged to work together to promote a peaceful working relationship between the two institutions. The IGP and his management team congratulated the PSC chair on his appointment and subsequent swearing-in, assuring him of the full cooperation of Nigeria Police Force to achieve an enviable policing system. Arase, while appreciating the IGP and the force leadership for the thoughtful visit, assured that all necessary support would be deployed to ensure that the Nigeria Police Force is repositioned for better service. He expressed optimism in the quest to build stronger ties, work out more areas of collaboration, as well as improve discipline within the ranks of the force.
If there is this synergy between us and the police high command, the men will be properly motivated. We don't have to quarrel about their promotions. We don't have to quarrel about their recruitment, so everything will be seamlessly done in such a way that it will be a win-win situation for everybody.
It will improve our relationship because this is somebody who knows who we are, what we are, and what we want to be.
In another development, the Nigerian Communication Commission (NCC) has organized trainings on the use of information and communication technology in modern warfare for cadets of the Nigerian Defense Academy (NDA). The move comes as part of the NCC's efforts to promote the integration of ICT into the military infrastructure of Nigeria and to enhance the capabilities of the country's armed forces in the realm of modern warfare. Executive Vice Chairman and CEO of the Commission, Omar Dambata, disclosed this when officers cadets of Course 72 of the NDA Department of Computer Science visited the Commission in Abuja. Dambata noted that no country or military institution should take electronics combat readiness for the military to do more in that aspect. On security matters now, ahead of the May 29 handover, the Defense Headquarters has vowed to resist anything that would truncate democracy. Director of Defense Information, Tuka Gusau, stated this in an interview with newsmen in Abuja, just as the Chief of Army Staff, Farouk Yahaya, threatened to crack down on potential threats to national security. He warned the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, the Eastern Security Network ESN, and other fringe groups not to test the will of the military. Gusau added that the peaceful conduct of the general elections, despite the insecurity engineered by the outlawed groups, was a testament to the military's resolve to ensure security across the country. Away from that, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has received another batch of 144 stranded Nigerians from Niamey in Niger Republic. NEMA Coordinator, Counter-Territorial Office, Nuruddin Abdullahi, disclosed this while receiving the returnees at the Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano. Abdullahi, represented by NEMA Resources, Suleiman Abubakar, said the returnees were brought back under the care of the International Organization for Migration (IOM) from Niamey through a voluntary repatriation program. He added the returnees included 106 male adults, 16 female adults, and 22 children, including 10 females and 12 males. We go to Africa, where the government of South Sudan has dispatched additional 300 soldiers to neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo under the banner of a regional bloc. Reports say they will be part of the East African Regional Force fighting the M23 rebel groups. According to Defense Minister Cole Balak, the additional soldiers brings the total number of South Sudan troops in the country to over 1,000. Balak said that the 300 soldiers will be deployed to Goma, the headquarters of the regional force, and they will be replaced after a year. Still in Africa, Kenya is reportedly preparing to launch its first ever Earth observation satellite in what has been described as a landmark achievement in the country's space exploration efforts. Reports say Nation 1, or Taifa 1 in Swahili, is scheduled to be launched next week aboard the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from the Vandenberg Space Force based in California. Defense Ministry and Kenya Space Agency, in a joint statement, said the satellite is designed to provide Earth observation data for use in agriculture, food security, and environmental management. Recall that in 2018, Kenya launched its first experimental nanosatellite from the International Space Station.
What do we mean by Earth observation? It's like taking a selfie from space. So basically, we have the satellites looking down on Earth and then taking imagery. Then you can download those imagery through ground stations.
And we all know that space finds application in virtually all aspects of human endeavor. If you are talking transportation, if you are talking TV and broadcasting, if you are talking broadband communications, navigation and positioning, weather forecasting, we have a number of public sector players who are utilizing space services in one way or another. So, for example, the scientists would want to see development of the space sector to support their research and studying of possibly the outer space environment. The defense, on the other side, would be looking at it from the perspective of intelligence, gathering intelligence as a force enabler multiplier, or as also to get strategic advantage over other competitors.
What do we mean by Earth observation? It's like taking a selfie from space. So
on the foreign scene, the Finnish flag is set to be raised at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO headquarters in Brussels, as Russia's western neighbor becomes the 31st member of the Western Alliance. Finnish President Sauli Niinisto and the U.S. Secretary of State will be joining NATO ministers in the ceremony. Reports say the length of Russia's border with NATO member states has now doubled. Finland shares a 1,340 kilometers eastern frontier with Russia and formally applied to join NATO with Sweden last May because of Russia's war. Recall that they had previously both adopted a policy of non-alignment, but after the Ukraine invasion, they chose the protection of NATO's Article 5, which says an attack on one member is an attack on all. But still on the foreign scene, former US President Donald Trump has been reportedly consulting lawyers at the Trump Tower in New York City as he prepares to face history-making criminal charges. Reports say he has been under investigation over hush money paid just before the 2016 election to an adult movie star. According to reports, extra security measures are in place, with the authorities expecting protests outside the Manhattan courts today. Recall that Trump, who is 76, is the first former U.S. president to be faced with a criminal case. You're watching Spectrum TV News at 2. Still to come in the news. Manchester United defender Luke Shaw signs new 4-year deal. Do stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. And on the business front, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has approved 173 digital lending applications to operate in the country. Now, according to the Commission's regulator guidelines for digital lending of 2022, the aim is to regulate the digital lending space and make registration and approval a prerequisite for companies seeking to operate in the space, noting that of the 173 digital lending applications, 119 have full approvals and 54 have conditional approvals. The reports say after shifting its deadline multiple times, the Commission adopted March 27, 2023 as the close of the registration and has now released a list of approved APPs that can operate in the country, adding that companies without approvals will not be able to operate in the space. Still in business, the Joint Action Congress of the Staff Unions and the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, has said that the agency has only been able to access 8% of its funds approved by the National Assembly. This was disclosed in a media briefing by the president of the Technical Staff Association of NASENI, Oluwaseyi Ogungbero, and the coordinator of the Non-Academic Staff Union of NASENI, Tijani Wakili. In a statement, Ogungbero, who spoke on behalf of both unions, urged the Ministry of Finance to release the agency's remaining funds due to the crucial role that it played in the economy. Let's talk health now. The World Health Organization, WHO, in its report says around 17.5% of the adult population, 1 in 6 worldwide, experience infertility. The UN agency stated that the numbers of people affected by infertility calls for urgent need to increase access to affordable, high-quality fertility care worldwide. The WHO added that despite the magnitude of the issue, solutions for the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of infertility, including assisted reproductive technology such as an intraviral fertilization, also remains underfunded and inaccessible to many due to high cost, social stigma, and limited availability. Staying with health, the World Health Organization has said that investment in education, skills, and decent jobs for health needs to be prioritized to meet the rapidly growing demand for health, as well as avert a projected shortage of 10 million health workers by 2030. The global health body stated this in a press statement issued ahead of its 75th anniversary on April 7, 2023. Or the organization, along with its 194 member states and other partners, are calling for a renewed drive for health equity in the face of unprecedented threats, advising governments and leaders to tackle action in protecting and investing in healthcare workers who are at the forefront of the response to health and climate emergencies. And now to sport, where Manchester United defender Luke Shaw has signed a new 4-year deal to keep him at the club until June 2027. The 27-year-old will extend his stay at Old Trafford to more than a decade after joining from Southampton in 2014. Osho has had an excellent season under manager Erik ten Hag, making 36 appearances in all competitions. But since scoring once and assisting 6 times, the defender has 29 England caps and scored 3 times, including the opening goal in the Euro 2020 final against Italy. Still in sport, Michael Keane scored a stunning long-range strike in the 90th minute to salvage a Premier League draw for Everton against Tottenham Hotspurs, in a game that saw both sides finish with 10 men. Defender Keane stepped up from the back to arrow a 25-yard drive into the top corner, with the points taking Sean Dyche's men out of the relegation zone. Harry Kane had given Tottenham the lead in the second half from the penalty spot after Keane himself had fouled Christian Romero in the area. Meanwhile, the points lifts Everton 3 places up to 15th, while Tottenham climbed to 4th on goal difference, albeit having played 2 more games than Manchester United, who sits in 5th. And now in entertainment news, Nigerian Afrobeat star Davido has set a new record on Apple Music with his latest album, Timeless. The music streaming service said in a tweet that the album has had the most first-day streams ever for an African album. The 17-track album was released on the 31st of March and is the musician's 4th. While the album has reportedly already broken the record for the biggest debut week on Spotify Nigeria and made the biggest first-day streams on Boomplay. Meanwhile, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, is set to receive a Women Vision Award from feminist icon Gloria Steinem at the luxurious gala next month. According to the president and CEO of the foundation, Teresa Younger, this year's honorees for the Women of Vision Awards is to celebrate 50 years of progress and power. A profile of the Duchess on the MS Foundation's website notes that Meghan is one of the most powerful and influential women in the world. The Women of Vision Awards Gala is designed to explore the past, present, and the future of the foundation, as well as feminist movements, while raising funds for the organization's strategic, equity-centered initiatives. And that's all we have for you at this time. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Don't forget, you can always follow us on all of our social media platforms, and do also subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website. You can search spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching the news at 2. Thanks for joining us. I'm Raymond Ita. Enjoy the rest of your day.